Get ready for the school year with Yumiko's annual back-to-school sale. Mix and match however you'd like within the basic collection, and upon purchasing 2 Leos, receive the third completely free. Whether you need black, burgundy, green, rose, or white, they have a handful of different styles to choose from. Kids and men's items are available to order too. Yumiko is also excited about its virtual shopping events through Instagram Live. 2 hosts showcase exclusive in-store options available to ship immediately, with different promotions offered at each session. If you haven't tuned in yet, be sure to check it out. The options shown are not available online, so it's the perfect opportunity to snag a unique Yumi at a discount. For more information on the back-to-school sale, live events, and summer stock availability, stay connected at Yumiko.com and at Yumiko on Instagram. I'm Rebecca King-Ferraro.
And I'm Michael Breeden, and you're listening to Conversations on Dance.
Today on the Conversations on Dance podcast, we are sharing our chat with American Ballet Theatre principal dancers Isabella Boylston and James Whiteside that was recorded as a part of the 2020 Vail Dance Festival Digital Edition. Through August 15th, you can watch our Zoom chat with James and Bella on the Vail Dance Festival Facebook page or on their YouTube channel. While you are there, we encourage you to explore the incredible 8 evenings of content that truly highlights what makes this festival so special. But hurry, the videos are only available now through August 15th.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the 2020 Vail Dance Festival Digital Edition. My name is Michael Breeden.
And I'm Rebecca King-Ferraro, and we are former Miami City Ballet dancers and the hosts of the podcast Conversations on Dance. We are thrilled to be back at the festival for our 4th year to help bring audiences an inside look behind the scenes at the dancers they love.
Today, we are joined by American Ballet Theatre principals James Whiteside and Isabella Boylston, who are also 2 Vail favorites and favorites of our podcast as well. So we're very glad to have them back on with us. Thank you guys for joining us. We're so happy that both of you could come. We've wanted this for a long time, and I'm sure that everyone who follows Vail Dance Festival will be really eager to see both of you together again, even if it's just digitally.
Thank you so much for having us. We're so happy to be here.
Yeah. That's the enthusiasm we like to hear, James.
Yes, come on, amp it up.
All right, so
that was really loud.
I'm really far away from the computer.
So everyone knows the 2 of you are besties, and we love seeing you at the festival. We love seeing you on Instagram. We love seeing you all over together, but maybe not everyone knows the origin of your friendship and the Cindy's. So tell us maybe how you guys first became good friends and how you started to dub yourselves the Cindy's.
I think we should start with when you thought I was auditioning for ABT. This is so good.
Wait, I don't think I can tell that story because it makes me seem really mean.
Well, then can you just soften it a little bit?
In revisionist history, yeah.
Anyway, basically, I heard that James was joining, and I was a little wary because it was a time in ABT when they were importing a ton of guest artists. And so I was a little bit, I think the general sentiment in the company was like, why not push the homegrown talent and, work with the amazing breadth of talent that we have in the company rather than bringing in guest artists. I was a little irked when I heard they were hiring James as a soloist. And I also thought he was a completely different person. But then when I saw him taking class the first day we took class together, I was like, oh my God, who is that? He's so fierce. And it was Cindy. And I remember the combination. It was a Petit Allegro, a Nimble Biscuit. And of course he was slaying it. And that's basically when I first met him. And, I couldn't help but respect the Nimble Biscuit chops that he was displaying.
Yeah, she, at the risk of saying anything rude, she thought I was a different auditioner and was confused at the hire. So, but when I did join, I was in the classes they do before the season starts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a week of maintenance classes. And I didn't know who she was. And in retrospect, I remember actually Raymond Lukens, who has been sort of like, you know, watching over me as an angel in my career and like calling me and being like, go to ABT, you know, stuff like that. Being like, this queen is everything. And I didn't know who she was. I'd never seen her. But then in class, I didn't know her name or anything, but I just saw her being a monster. And and I went up to her and I was like, wait a minute, you're like amazing. And she was like, wait a minute, you're like amazing. And then we were friends.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, it's such a gross, like, center stage story.
It truly is. When you're like a parody of everything.
But anyway, shortly thereafter, we got to do Don Q together. So it was my debut as Keytree in Don Q, and my partner got injured. And so James did Basilio, also his first principal role with ABT. And we were performing in Barcelona, which was magical. And so that just like cemented the friendship.
Yeah. Isn't it ironic that my first principal role with ABT was something so masky-jasky as Basilio?
I love that.
And
but
in Spain, no less, like Idaho and Connecticut coming through with the
Such a joke. Oh my God. Yeah.
But we had so much fun.
We had so much fun. You really butched it up.
Right. Was that like kind of unexpected at the time? Because James, I know you were partnering a lot of the taller ballerinas, and that was a big boost for your career at ABT. Is like they really needed a solid partner for a number of ballerinas that, you know, tall men that can lift a tall lady is like, that's a really important but sort of rare beast. So you were kind of fitting that. And Bella, you were a little smaller and you can go with a lot of different partners. So was that a surprise that like you got the prize tall lady partner for that?
I think it wasn't so much about anything except the need to fill a spot.
Right.
And so much of my first year at ABT wasn't really based on any skills that I had. And I had already been cast to do it with Paloma Herrera. So I was not supposed to do Don Q that first like month at ABT. Right. I was supposed to show up and do like Drink to Me with Thine Eyes or whatever, some Mark Morris dance. And then literally like 99% of ABT was injured. And they were like, here? And then like a couple days later, they were like, now you have 2 partners. And so I did the 2 shows like 2 days apart. And I met Paloma for the first time in Spain in our first rehearsal like 2 days before the show.
Great.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming
crumble under such circumstances, they're usually like, okay, queen, word, you know?
Yeah. So I'm assuming this was a role you had danced in Boston before.
Very poorly, yes.
Okay.
Unbelievably poorly. I did the Nureyev version and I was capital bad.
So, but the Nureyev version is pretty much, it's very different, right? I mean, so it's like, it wasn't just like, oh, it's in my body and I can like, sure, they're throwing me some curveballs, but like I can do this. It was like, you got to relearn it.
You know, when I tell you like, compared to the Nureyev version, the standard Don Q it's like candy.
Yeah.
You're literally just like, yum, 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 like eating spaghetti and like marshmallows.
Right. I mean, Nureyev's, I don't know where he got these ideas, but have you ever had like the Nutcracker? It just starts with like a 4-minute balance and arabesque with the sugar plum and the cab next to one another. I mean, I don't even want to see what happens in Don Q, frankly.
Oh my God, I would love to start a pas de deux with a 4-minute balance. I'd be like, yes, I'm resting. Like, if you've seen my point shoes, my box is literally like this big. So
you darn those shoes.
I don't darn them, but for some reason balancing is like fun to me. But there are many other steps that I find much less fun that probably other people think are easy.
So you guys had this first performance where you were thrust together, but when did, as your friendship continued to grow, when did the name Cindy's start to come around, and what was the origin of that?
I mean, I think it was pretty much right away. It was like, had to be within the first month of us knowing each other. I texted her and I was like, "Hi, Cindy," and she said, "Hi, Cindy," and then we giggled about it, and it stuck. It's so boring. I apologize.
Yeah, it's not a good. There's no meaning or significance.
Yeah.
But what's not boring is you have a honorary Cindy who is very special and came to the Vail Dance Festival last year. Tell us about your honorary Cindy.
Our honorary Cindy is Jennifer Garner, who has sort of just been an outspoken lover of ballet. And we just sort of hit it off, and she's generous and kind and talented, and I just adore her.
She took a photo of the two of us and then photoshopped herself into it and was like, "Can I be a Cindy or something?" I don't know. It was really cute.
Yeah,
it is.
She's
so
adorable.
Cute.
So let's talk a little bit about the Vail Dance Festival now. Could each of you do a brief explanation of what your first experiences were at the festival, how you got invited, and what that first year was like for you?
Mm-hmm. I think I was invited. I think I literally ran into Damien on the subway, and he was like riding on the Upper West Side, and he was like, "You should come to the Vail Dance Festival." And of course I was so excited because, everyone wants to go to the Vail Dance Festival. Mm-hmm. And I think I was still in the corps. I was about to be promoted to soloist. I've been going for many years, and I was the artist in residence in 2017, maybe-ish, 2018.
What did that entail for you? What was your experience as artist in residence like?
I don't know, pretty similar to just being a dancer, maybe a few more like spokesperson type events. Mm-hmm. But I did get to do a lot of really cool debuts that year. I debuted an Afternoon of a Faun. I've been able to debut so many roles that I never would have been able to perform anywhere else, like Serenade and Afternoon of a Faun, Bitter Earth. Mm-hmm. So I feel very lucky. It's always been like a highlight of my career and artistic development to go there.
Oh. How about you,
James? And then I think someone got injured and I was called, I believe. I had just done Duo Concertante with ABT with Paloma, and they knew I knew it, or they had seen me do it or something, and they called me and they said, "Hey, come do this number with Tyler Peck." And I was like, yes, because naturally I had been waiting, eons to be invited. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, like she said, everybody wants to go. It's an amazing mix of talent, and it's a beautiful place and all that jazz. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows it. And so I went and I did Duo Concertante, and that was my first experience, and it was unbelievably fun, and it was just an amazing experience. And so I've been going back every year since, and that was like 2013 or something.
Yeah. Bella, you talked about doing Afternoon of a Faun. Is there something else that the two of you maybe, excluding any new works, but any sort of repertoire that you have gotten to dance at Vail that you wouldn't have gotten to maybe dance at ABT that was especially nice for you to have the opportunity to do in Vail?
Well, yeah, one of my dream roles, my favorite ballet is Serenade. I just think it's the most beautiful ballet ever. And I don't know, it kind of doesn't really matter. Of course, there are incredible performers that really can transcend and take it to another level, but I feel like it doesn't even matter who's performing it. It's such a beautiful work that it's just powerful and moving. At any viewing. But anyways, I was really excited. I got to do the Russian girl. I think she's called the one that does all the crazy jumping.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I was dying.
It's hard.
Dying.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so fun.
We saw you in it last year. It was so great. We loved it.
Great. And
beautiful.
I love too that it might not be, I think if, other leaders were casting you in it would be easy to stick you in either of the other two roles, the Waltz Girl, who's sort of like the more pivotal character, if you will, or the Dark Angel, since you have those beautiful lines. But I love Damien and Heather. They really make this effort to put people, it's not even outside the box. It's just people, it's a lot of leaders can keep people in like you're this type, you're that type, but you have this beautiful jump. And so to combine the qualities that you're kind of always praised for with something that sometimes maybe doesn't get as much attention, I think is just such smart casting and leadership.
Totally. Yeah, I feel like they really defy like typecasting and really, I don't know, have the vision and foresight to put people into really like interesting roles.
I was supposed to do Stars and Stripes this year, which would have been just silly and fun, and that really makes sense for me.
You would have been so great. You've never done it, right?
No.
Yeah, you need to do that.
2021.
Who are you going to dance with?
I don't know. They didn't get that far. I would have found out like 4 days before the show. And I mean, one of my favorite things that is really outside of my comfort zone that I did was Michelle Dorrance's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I was tapping alongside Michelle, and I really haven't tapped since I was probably 16. So that was a real challenge and so fun for me, and Michelle's incredible. So yeah.
Yeah. So what's that like, bringing back sort of latent talent, like, and then with someone who is, as you know, Michelle is not just the top of her field; she's basically a genius. You know. So is that intimidating, or you just dove back in and we're like, okay, I'm learning from the best. So
the thing is, when like I'm a ballet dancer, so I don't have to be a genius at tap dancing for people to enjoy it. The novelty of me tapping is enjoyable in itself. And so I felt very forgiven for my faults in my lack of proficiency in tap. So I was stressed because I really, really wanted to be good and not just like ruining the sound of the dance. But I don't know, I felt the audience was supportive instead of judgmental, which I often feel at Vail.
How much of a heads up did you get that you would be tapping that year? Like, were you working on it in New York before you even got to the festival, or was it really just like a few days before you were on stage?
Damien texted me the video from a couple of years ago when she had made it. And he was like, "You're going to be doing this? You might want to take a look." And I was like, "What the hell?"
So, are there certain ballets? We'll just put this out into the stratosphere so that, you know, maybe Damien and Heather will hear about it and we can make it a reality. Are there certain things that you guys would love to do at Vail that you haven't gotten to do at Ballet Theater, your home company?
I've done step text, and that was really fun. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Probably just more, I know what I'd love to do. I'd love to do like a black and white Balanchine leotard ballet, like some parada, one of those. Oh, and also diamonds. I feel like people would definitely cast me as rubies, but I think I should do diamonds.
Feel more like a diamond.
Like a diamond.
James, you did rubies a lot in Boston Ballet, but did you ever do diamonds?
No, never.
So maybe we get to see you guys in diamonds.
Oh my God, let's Heather, Diamonds 2021.
Yeah.
I love it. It needs to happen. Let's also talk about, James, your Vail choreographic debut, which you had last year with New American Romance. Michael and I just love this piece so much. It was so, so beautiful. Tell us a little bit about what this experience was like creating this piece on your ABT colleagues last summer.
It was an amazing experience, but it was condensed. So I finished the piece, I think, in 5 days. And then we had one more week to rehearse it. And I mean, that's insane. It's 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of dancing in it.
Right.
And so I knew in order to rehearse it, I had to finish it really fast. And I actually got really sick during the Met season last year and missed out on like 2 days of creating. So I was so amped up and just like ready to spit out the ballet. And then, I mean, it's just, I really enjoyed making the dance with my friends, honestly. It was just such a pleasant experience. And the audience at Vail was just awesome. They were like so effusive and warm and lovely. And it was just a really fun experience. And then 2 days later, I got a call from my boss, Kevin McKenzie, and he said, we're putting it on the fall season. And my head nearly exploded, just because it's such a dream. I mean, absurd to have your work presented at Lincoln Center. That's just outrageous. And I'm grateful. And I was supposed to have another work at Vail this summer. And I'm sad that it will have to be deferred, but until next time.
Had you already started kind of mapping out what that might look like?
Yeah, of course.
You want to tell us about it, or are we keeping it secret for 2021?
No, I can tell you about it. So I had, my goal is to finish each movement of Death and the Maiden, the Schubert masterpiece. There are 6 movements, I believe. And I actually have already done one of them with 3 ballerinas at ABT, Bella being one of them, that I worked on for ABT's incubator program, which eventually led to me getting the opportunity to create on ABT for Vail.
Right.
So in my mind, I have this whole extra concept, but I don't have the opportunities right now to finish it all at once. So I'm going to do step by step until it's all done.
Right.
So I was going to do one more movement for the Vail Festival.
You know, something that was really, I think, striking about your premiere last year was you could tell that you were pulling from a lot of different influences. Can we talk about what some of those were? What things made it into the ballet for you?
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, I wanted it to be a sort of nod to romantic classical ballets, but with me, that's just not really possible because you're going to inevitably get my background in there. So it's going to be jazzy, but it also looks very classical. I wanted it to really fool people into thinking it was like an incredibly classical piece until you see the movement and it's acrobatic. And, you know, I pulled very much from my childhood with my dance teachers who had a touring, like world famous Adagio act, which is like circus pas de deux, basically. So Catherine and Aaron, both ABT soloists, they had an insane pas de deux where she was just getting whipped about. And then you even see influences like, you know, Britney Spears and Beyonce in there with 3 women. It's all part of the mix.
Right.
Yeah. Bella, let's talk a little bit about your experience last summer working with Justin Peck. You were a part of the star-studded group of increases that was so amazing. We had ABT principals, New York City Ballet, Boston Ballet all together. What was it like working with Justin for the first time in Vail last year?
Yeah, well, I love Justin's work. I'm like such a fan. I always can't wait to see like the new thing that he's made. But actually we had worked together. So we worked together on Red Sparrow.
That's right.
Yeah, which was really fun. And I also had done one of his pas de deux, Bright Motion. I did that a couple years before. So we'd worked together a bit. Honestly, I found that experience like in the sneaker ballet to be like a little intimidating just because I have never done a sneaker ballet before. And I felt also I was like with Tyler, who's like, she has almost like a photographic memory. She can pick things up. I mean, it's not normal. And I don't necessarily always consider myself to be like the quickest at picking things up. Like, but you know, we got there. But it was really, really fun. It was really cool to try something new. But again, like that's just one of the challenges, and it's also the magic of Vail is putting something completely brand new in your body in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I also just loved Devin Tusher was also part of that all-star cast, and see the two of you
increases.
Right.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Increases is a masterpiece. It's such a great ballet.
And that's his first ballet that ever went at City Ballet.
I was talking about the premiere that we did, but Increases, I was like, oh my god, this is my jam. It's such a cool ballet.
I told him that he needs to do a sequel called Decreases.
Okay.
And he laughed and never did it.
Maybe you should do Decreases.
Yeah, maybe Decreases is the sister ballet, but by Whiteside. But I loved the way that you and Devin, you know, you were in this premiere, and it's a short ballet. I think it's like 12 minutes long or something. It's very short. And I just kept thinking, like, these are women who nightly have to do 32 fouettes after doing 2 previous acts. And you were both like sweating bullets and like, I really want to do this so right. And like, what is, how do I execute this like stylistically in a way that's true to Justin? And it was like the work ethic from both of you was just so bonkers, and it was so sort of disarming to see you like throw yourself into something that to my mind was like just a tiny fraction of what you have to do every single night at the Met, but you're just true workhorses in that way.
Yeah, we were so nervous. Oh my God. We were like freaking out before the show.
So funny.
And there was only one show, so we gotta get it back on the Vail stage.
Oh my God. And it was so fun working with you on that too.
You were my first ever, so I was so lucky that
So cool.
I had someone that was not gonna hate me for getting a count wrong here and there. But that was great.
It's very cool.
Are there any Vail collaborations that you guys have been a part of that have gone on to have other lives outside of Vail that maybe you've performed elsewhere?
I mean, with people, yes.
With
not so much the ballets themselves, but I mean, we've gone on to work with the people we've met at Vail in various capacities, mainly the dancers with City Ballet, with Michelle. Yeah, I think my favorite thing about Vail, more than the dancing even, is the connection of all those people across all disciplines of dance. We're just there to crush it. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the bizarro-ness that is 2020 being a ballet dancer. I mean, it must be sort of a head trip to have to think forward and know that you are going to be back on stage, but when? And you guys have done a really sort of proactive thing via your social media accounts, and it seems like you're always taking class, and you're giving class, and you're trying to find ways to keep things up, keep the morale up. So what has your experience been like from the beginning to now in terms of how you're staying in shape and what you're trying to give back to the sort of following that both of you have?
I need to be really clear. There's nothing in the world that can put us in shape like taking class and working all day, every day and performing. This is not the same thing. We are not staying in shape. We are completely out of shape at this point, even though we've done the best job we can as far as like kitchen ballet,
Yeah, usually like at this time of year, we're finishing the Met season and we're like, yeah, everyone's got like 18 abs and just like in the craziest shape of your life. But I don't know, honestly, it has been really hard staying motivated, but I feel like connecting with people via social media has given me the motivation to where I feel like, I don't know, there's a purpose to taking class. And yeah, it's hard. I mean, ever since I was like 15, I've always had a performance on the calendar. So it's weird not having that.
I know.
Yeah, one nice thing I think is like the directors that we've spoken to in this time all are very much on the same page. I feel like as a dancer, maybe you'd worry that like, what's the expectation going to be? We talked to Mikko Nissanen, and he was just like, I think we just have to know they're just going to be, like a grading curve. It's just like these first performances back aren't going to look that hot. And we have to take care of the dancers and understand that like the level may not be there, but not just that, but that, your bodies are going to need that time to sort of readjust.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. At the same time, like, we're alive, we're healthy. So.
And in a lot of ways, we've had a really good time connecting with people. And like, I don't know, it's felt really good to do class for charity.
Tell us about that. Tell us about the money that you're raising.
That was sort of just a little byproduct. We were like, well, it would be cool if for our class, we just asked people to donate to the charity a week. And it started out just like as a cute little idea, but then I don't know, it became sort of like the cornerstone of our class. Like feel good about yourself and do some good.
Yeah, the first class that we taught, I think like 18,000 people tuned in.
Wow.
And we were like, I mean, we should really imagine if all of these people gave a little bit of money.
Right.
I mean, I don't think everyone donates, but I think there's been hopefully like a steady influx.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we raised like $8,000 for the Dancers Emergency Fund
within like a couple days.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so like that's felt so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but at the same time, I need applause.
And I also think it's important for all of us to remember, like, if we're growing artistically in other ways right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think like we've all been doing a ton of self-reflection, and I think that's all gonna like pay off when we do come back on stage.
And what are some of the things that you've changed, or you've been forced to adapt in this time, that you think once things go back, let's say to normal, you're still going to hold on to things that are positive changes that you can actually utilize in a quote unquote normal world?
I don't know. I've sort of embraced my office worker persona, and I have time daily to set aside to connecting with people and doing emails and maintaining house. And that was something I sort of just let slide before.
Right.
That's something I want to maintain when we go back to work in 2037.
Yeah, I agree. I think also just like with everything that's been going on, just becoming more and more aware of like racial inequality in the ballet world, and just like how, we may be like passively participating in that, and how we can like actively change that going forward.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. It's so difficult to.
Yeah.
So
I think it's good. I don't know. I'm trying to use this time. I think like the most important thing we can be doing right now is just like educating and educating ourselves and like reflecting
and standing up.
Yeah.
And,
standing up.
At least we're in a really good position to be people who stand up. We've been in the business for a long time at this point, and it's up to people like us to really just be noisy and say the things that people are afraid to say.
Right.
And we've all learned a lot about that during this time.
So what are some of the ways that you've been using your platform to stand up and speak out, and not merely just sort of coast on X number of followers, but actually engage them in positive ways?
Yeah, well, I mean, for my whole career, I've been really noisy about essentially gay rights. I'm very, very out and proud, and I try to inspire young kids to not be ashamed of themselves or change themselves to make other people feel more comfortable. And I think that sort of mentality lends itself well to promoting racial justice. And it feels very natural to me to tell people about my journey and how it can be like all tie in together. And I don't know. So I've just been sharing information. My boyfriend Milk is like the most insanely he's like a sponge for social information. So he teaches me a lot, and I try to share the information that he shares. And when you have a platform like we do, you just have to get the information out. And I think I can't make people read the pamphlets, but I sure can hand them out.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's great, like, to, I don't know, have these, like, I don't know, it's easy to, like, pick up tidbits of information and learn about new things via social media, but also it's important to remember that's just, like, the tip of the iceberg, and there's so much more, like, deep diving that needs to be done, not on social media. So yeah, for me, it's just been like educating and also just talking to like other people in the field. Yeah. And also like thinking back on my time as a dance student and just trying to assess like what I think wasn't good about the way that I was brought up in ballet, and like learning about other people's experiences.
Right.
Yeah.
Are there any, just to shift gears a little bit, are there any collaborations or anything that you guys have up coming up that you're working on? I know, of course, a time without the stage presents all these, difficulties, but are there ways that you're adapting and finding other projects to work on?
I mean, we both have some cool projects in the works. I actually am the subject of a documentary that is being worked on right now with the director John Avnet. He did Fried Green Tomatoes. He was there on Black Swan. He's has a long history of directing and producing. So that's been a fun thing to work on.
I've got a lot of fun things going on. I like to make stuff. So I've got an album as my pop musician alter ego coming out on my birthday, which is July 27th. It's called Bodega Bouquet, and it'll be on Apple Music and stuff, Spotify. I'm writing a book that's going to be published by Penguin Viking.
Wow.
And that'll be out August 2021. And I'm always making videos and dances and just stuff. So.
I mean, you've been really prolific with your work as a musician. Can you tell us what is influencing this album and what might make it a little bit different from what we've heard from you in the past?
Absolutely. So there are sort of 3 sections of the album. It's called Bodega Bouquet, and the title track I actually wrote as a would-be breakup song for me and Dan, aka Milk. We've been together for over 13 years, and I've been deprived of a breakup song. So I sociopathically wrote a breakup song, which is sort of sad and psycho and speaks to me. And then other bits of the album, there's a lot of comedy, a lot of social poking fun. It's very, very sexually explicit. I don't want to censor myself, and so I didn't. So some of the songs might be really jarring, but I think they're pretty cool because that's not something you hear all the time from a gay singer, rapper extraordinaire, not so extraordinaire. Yeah.
That makes me think of Taylor Swift is obviously pretty well known for her breakup songs, but then she had some point where she either wasn't in a relationship or hadn't been broken up with in a while, and she was like, "This is the first song I had to write just as a sort of fantasy."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a
Swiftie moment.
It's not real. You know what I mean? I say real things about a thing that hasn't happened. You know what I mean? And once you hear it, you'll know. And I have people on it, a lot of ABTs, pianists are on it, and I have a friend from Boston Ballet who's on it. It's just a fun mix of people, collaborators.
Very fun. Well, just before we let you guys go, we just want to circle back to Vail Dance Festival, their digital edition this year. So what are you guys hoping that audiences who maybe have never been to the Vail Dance Festival before will take away from this experience and from seeing what we create all together in Vail?
I mean, like I said before, I think the people make up the really magnificent part of the dance festival. And these people just happen to be the best dancers in the world. So it's just a whole lot of good. And I really hope that anybody interested in this, video interview thing will make sure that they get to the Vail Dance Festival next summer.
Honestly, just Heather and Damien believing in me and giving me these incredible opportunities. I feel that they've had a real hand in my artistic development. And so I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to miss this year working with them. But I can't wait to dive in and keep growing and exploring next year.
And next year, everyone will come out to see the Boylston Whiteside Diamonds.
Exactly.
That's really correct. Before we're 57.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And
thank you so much. It's always a pleasure chatting with you both.
Thank you for joining us this week. If you would like to support the Conversations on Dance podcast, there are a few ways that you can help. Click over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. Download episodes when you listen to allow our analytics to better understand our listenership. Join our Facebook group, Conversations on Dance, Friends of the Pod, or you can offer a donation. Conversations on Dance has always been and will always be free to our listeners. You can help us continue to create and produce this unique behind-the-curtain look at the dance world by visiting conversationsondancepod.com/support. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week.